and Brett here today. Brett, how are we, my friend?
Doing all right. How about you?
I'm fine. I am doing so I've got my one son he's finished college, and basically he's waiting for he's at home right now, but he's working his job. He's got a really good job. Man, he's already like lapping me. He's got a really good job, but he's waiting for one of his friends to get out of their lease so they can get a place together. And that's so he's at home and he needs to use a car. I've got my daughter back from the University of Minnesota, Duluth, and she's going out with friends, so she needs a car. And then I have my high school senior who's got to work tonight, so she needs a car. So I did not have to hike it here.
You didn't bike over anything.
I did not. Oh, what a great idea that is in winter.
Well, it's like you're running out of cars, it sounds like. With the way
we are now out of cars. So I did not Uber a Lyft here, but basically my wife dropped me off, and so I feel kind of weird. I don't have you used to have I got a car here. I'm basically and where we're at in the Twin Cities metro area, we are kind of in a dead zone for anything. There's not even like a Subway, right? Well, there's one. Isn't there a sandwich place about a mile that way?
Yeah, there's a rather sad Subway.
Oh God, is it? It's well, I mean, rather sad Subway is Subway. They're not advertising with us, are they? Sorry, metro areas, if they are. I love myself a BMT. Anyway, add bacon to it, a little mayo, nothing wrong with that. But I will say that if I have to walk home, I'm doomed. The wolves are going to get me. Wolves or the wild turkeys. It's going to be one of them. They're the meanest gangs in this town. The wolves and the wild turkeys.
I'm certainly not giving you a ride home either.
You're not, are you?
Incident, yeah.
Hey, well, what last incident?
Well, that's not for the airwaves.
Okay. I thought those were my pants. All righty. But hey, I was just letting the car next to me know he was number one with me. That's all, man. I don't know why he got so upset, and I didn't realize you had to use a specific finger for number one. I thought any of them would do. Anyway, 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I hope you're having a good day. A little snow down in Chicago today, but God, that city is gorgeous with snow. A little snowy up here in the Twin Cities, Seattle. You're not going to get, I don't think you're getting any snow, but you still have the best cup of coffee to ward off any kind of the gloominess of the winter out there. So enjoy, have a cup for me. 952-946-6205. So we'll start off a Friday. I just saw this, and this is sometimes it's funny because the BBC, I've actually started reading the BBC. I'm going to encourage you to read the BBC. If you want international news, the BBC is the one that's going to give it to you because it's neutral and it's not biased and it's not running through a Trump filter and they're not trying to appease Trump. It's pretty good. And so when they have a story that's off kind of the beaten path sometimes, I'm going to read it just because it's got to be legit. A woman in Australia has annulled her marriage after realizing that a fake wedding ceremony she took part in for a social media stunt was in fact a real wedding. She got duped. The unknowing bride said her partner was a social media influencer, who convinced her to take part in a ceremony as a prank for his Instagram account. She only discovered the marriage was genuine when he tried to use it to gain permanent residency in Australia. A Melbourne judge has granted the annulment after accepting the woman has tricked into getting married in a judgment published on Thursday. The bizarre case began in September 2023 when the woman met a partner on an online dating platform. They began seeing each other regularly in Melbourne. Which have you ever been down to Australia? No, for yourself?
I have not. No.
It's supposed to be a lovely city. Melbourne is supposed to be absolutely lovely. We've got listeners down in Australia. Bring me down there. Bring us, all three of us down there. Patrick, myself, and Brett. We'll come down and we'll do some shows. We'll sing, we'll dance, you'll cry. It'll be a magical time. Plus Melbourne sounds awesome. They began seeing each other regularly in Melbourne, where they lived at the time. In December that year, the man proposed to the woman, and she accepted. Okay, so far so good. 2 days later, the woman attended an event with the man in Sydney. She was told it would be a white party where attendees would wear white-colored clothing and was told to pack a white dress. But when they arrived, she was shocked and furious to find no other guest present except for her partner a photographer, the photographer's friend, and a celebrant, according to the deposition quoted in court documents. Now, okay, so this is where I was like, wait a second, you can have all this stuff here, but I mean, you have to go and get the documentation. Unless really they take that, captain can marry you at sea thing seriously, you have to register the wedding usually. But they did, apparently, or this guy tried to at least. So when I got there and I didn't see anybody in white, I asked him, what's happening? And he pulled me aside. He told me he is organizing a prank wedding for his social media, to be precise, Instagram, because he wants to boost his content and wants to start monetizing her Instagram page, she said. Well, it's a good thing she got this all taken care of before Instagram stopped their fact checking, because he'd be able to come back and say, no, she's really married. And now you got real problems. Thanks, Zuck. She said she had accepted his explanation as he was a social media person and who had more than 17,000 followers on Instagram. Okay, whoa. 17 is wait, that's basically combined. I've got 17,000 people following me on all my social pages. Can I be an influencer? Can I be like this? Or is this only something for Gen Zers? And people who are younger than 56. How about I say it like that? I was getting ready to start my TikTok dance page, but apparently that's going away. So she thought 17,000 followers made an influencer. Okay. She also believed that a civil marriage would be only valid if it was held in court. Still, she remained concerned. The woman rang a friend and voiced her worries, but the friend laughed it off and said it would be fine because if it were real, they'd have to have filed a notice of intended marriage. Okay, so yeah, which they had not. Reassured, the woman went through with the ceremony where she and her partner exchanged wedding vows and kissed in front of the camera. She said she was happy at the time to play along to make it look real. Funny story, it was. 2 months later, her partner asked her to add him as a dependent in her application for permanent residency Australia. Both of them were foreigners. When she told him that she could not, as they were technically not married, he then revealed that their Sydney wedding ceremony had been genuine, according to the woman's testimony. The woman later found out their marriage certificate and discovered the notice of intent marriage, which had been filed the month before their Sydney trip, before they even got engaged, which she said she did not sign. According to the court documents, the signature on the notice bears little resemblance to the woman's signature. I'm furious with the fact that I didn't know that this was a real marriage, and the fact that he also lied about from the beginning, and the fact that he wanted me to add him in my application. She said in his deposition, the man claimed they had both agreed to these circumstances, and that following his proposal, the woman had agreed to marry him at an intimate ceremony in Sydney. The judge ruled the woman was mistaken about the nature of the ceremony performed and did not provide real consent to her participation. She believed she was acting. She called the event a prank and made it perfect sense for her to adapt the persona of the bride and all things in the impugned ceremony so they enhanced the credibility of the video depicting a legally invalid marriage. He said in the statement the marriage was annulled officially in October of last year. Here's the thing, which is, I think, the saving grace for her. The call she made to that friend, because making that call all of a sudden got you a witness saying, he wants to get married. I don't want to get married. And he's like, well, you're not really getting married. And so that basically gave her the alibi right there. So if this does, well, first of all, 17,000 viewers. I mean, if you're going to get married, I mean, how big would the social media account need to be for me to get married a second time? I mean, yeah, why not? Sure. Okay. Well, we'll get a punch card. How many times, how many followers, Brett, how many followers would you need for a wedding ceremony on the influencer scale?
Yeah, to be on an influencer, you would need well into the six figures, I would think.
Yeah, I wouldn't. I would at least be about 200, 300,000.
Yeah, if not even possibly seven figures to get up that.
17,000 is like a local Bojangles restaurant. There's no one there. I know restaurants that have like 17,000 followers that are just local restaurants.
Yeah, it's a good following, but it's not anything that's a big national follow. Yeah.
Well, this guy was, I mean, first of all, delusions of grandeur, 17K. But, you know, the thing was, that was the excuse. He clearly was obviously trying to, he was being just a smidge deceptive in the entire process. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. The big story today is criminal. He's a crime lord. That's right. Your hero, Donald Trump, is going to be the only past and future U.S. president with a criminal record. That's right. Trump was sentenced on Friday for his New York hush money case just days before his inauguration, making him the only past and future U.S. president with a criminal record. Delicious. Trump has faced and by the way, I'm going to get to this. You have to understand the insanity, the absolute insanity of the 4 Supreme Court justices that voted to basically intervene in this case. You and Samuel Alito, that lying sack of crap. This is why Donald Trump and him were talking the other day. This is why. They weren't talking about, well, there's an intern that wanted a job in the White House. No, he was talking about, okay, I need you to go get beer guy, go get Lurch Gorsuch, go get the RV guy, and what's the Chicky Poo's name that I put on there? Get the Chicky Poo out there and get them all together, and we'll make sure that I'm not going to be a criminal when I go to office. I will talk a lot. I will touch on that because I've read a few legal analysis of the insanity of what those Supreme Court justices were trying to do. I mean, they were just basically making it up. Trump has faced 4 criminal prosecutions, but the New York State case was the sole one that went to trial. The jury convicted him on May of 34 felonies for falsifying invoices, checks, and ledger entries, amounted to $130,000 reimbursement for having sex with a porn star and paying her off. More on this when we do return. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Friday.
You may not think of it, but winter is a great time to take care of those exterior home projects. This is Chad, owner of AM 950 for Snap Construction. Most people wait until the warmer months for their exterior home projects, but labor costs are actually lowest in the winter. And that's true for the contractor I trust, Snap Construction. Arguably the most well-reviewed exterior contractor and insulation contractor in the metro. Are you noticing ice dams on your house? Or is your furnace constantly running and you're still not comfortable? In addition to your exterior home projects, winter is also a great time to get your insulation checked with a free energy audit from Snap Construction. The average cost to upgrade your insulation is oftentimes less than a new furnace. Plus, there are rebates available from your energy provider when you upgrade your insulation. As always, Snap Construction stands by their work with a lifetime craftsmanship warranty. So don't wait for prices to rise in the warmer months. Get a free estimate now by calling 612-333-SNAP, 612-333-SNAP, or go to snapconstruction.com.
Do you have a vehicle you no longer need? Are you a little cash strapped? Rudy Luther Toyota will pay you for your used vehicle. It's really simple. Head to rudyluthertoyota.com, answer a few simple questions, and Rudy Luther Toyota will get you an instant offer. Then they will set up an appointment, and after a quick verification, they will handle all the paperwork and coordinate getting you your check. It's that simple. It's a fast way for you to get rid of the vehicle you no longer need, putting money in your hands. For more information, head to rudyluthertoyota.com. That's rudyluthertoyota.com.
Spring and summer is the right time to install your fireplace. Find your perfect fireplace and have it installed and ready before the cold weather hits again. If you already have a wood fireplace, consider a fireplace insert or check out the entire selection at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces on East Franklin and Riverside in Minneapolis. It will transform your inefficient fireplace into a reliable, environmentally smart heating system.
This is Peter Solak, owner of Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces. Have you ever watched your dog or cat curl up in front of a fire? It's primordial, the way it touches both the animal and the human. We know that fire reaches deep into the heart and soul. Let us show you how. We have over 35 working units on display here in Minneapolis. We are located at the east end of Riverside Avenue at 2901 East Franklin. From I-94, take the Riverside Avenue exit. Find us also online at woodlandstoves.com. Let us help you make a fireplace part of your life.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. To avoid gimmicks, call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
McNeil Show on your Friday. Nice to have you here. 952-946-6205. So, criminal Trump, because that is what he is. He's a criminal. He's a criminal. Now, I want to remind people that, and this is, I'm going to come back to this. This was state charges. This was New York State. This wasn't he tried to overthrow the government stuff. This wasn't the boxes of classified documents in the can at Mar-a-Lago case, which once again, Eileen Cannon saw those images and said, I see nothing wrong here. God, talk about the fix being in. That judge needs to be prosecuted. Eileen Cannon needs to be prosecuted. Absolutely. Nor is it that Georgia case where Fannie Willis basically screwed up the whole thing by basically having a relationship with someone. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. No, this was the one case that actually got to court, got the conviction, and he now got sentenced. New York Justice Juan Merchan sentenced the president-elect to an unconditional discharge, handing down no jail time or fines, but cementing the mark on Trump's record 10 days before he takes oath of office to become the 47th president. Now, let's talk a little bit about that. He was convicted in 30-plus charges, and he walks away with no jail time, no penalty, nothing. Just the conviction. And trust me, knowing who Trump is, there isn't a safe bottle of ketchup at Mar-a-Lago tonight, because he's going to be throwing a temper tantrum beyond a temper tantrum, without a doubt in my mind. But this is kind of an embarrassment for justice in this country. And if as we talk about this, and I probably will talk a little bit more about this with Zuck and Meta and the latest problems there, as you watch corporate America bow down to Trump by basically saying, yep, we're going to be less truthy and more racist. What can we do? The reality is the justice system was already anticipating this. And the fact that, Merchan, he basically said from the get-go, when this case went to the New York Supreme Court and then the U.S. Supreme Court, in both those cases, it was clear that he was not going to face anything other than, at worst, a slap on the wrist. But the criminal conviction would hold. That is, you wonder how people get the impression that the justice system is flawed and unfair. It's stuff like this. But you want to know the truth? It could have been worse. It could have been worse. It could have been Eileen Cannon worse. I'll get to that in a second. Speaking during the virtual proceedings, Trump said he was totally innocent and defended his description of payments to his lawyer in business records as legal expenses. As he had in the past, he accused the federal government of being involved in the New York State case. It's been a political witch hunt that was done to damage my reputation so that I'd lose the election. It obviously didn't work, and the people in our country got to see firsthand because they watched the case in your courtroom, and yeah, you were guilty. The president-elect said The courtroom contains limited space for public and journalists. Merchant called for the case extraordinary and said the same burden of proof was applied, and jury made up of ordinary citizens delivered the verdict. After Merchant explained the expense, he told Trump, "Sir, I wish you Godspeed as you pursue your second term in office." Trump was represented on Friday morning and at trial by his personal lawyer, Todd Blanche, whom he's basically decided to put in charge of the U.S. Justice Department. Let's go into this. Following months' delays, the sentencing went forth despite Trump's 11th hour request to the U.S. Supreme Court halting the procedure. The justices denied Trump's application late Thursday, though the order noted that Justices Thomas, Alito, Gorsuch, and Kavanaugh all would have granted it. ABC News reported Thursday that Trump had spoken with Alito by phone just hours before submitting the application on the court's emergency docket. Alito told the network he did not speak to them about the application. He's lying. Alito is lying, man. He clearly was talking to Trump about this. So we have to understand how broken the Supreme Court is now, where you have 4 justices. Okay, this was a state court issue, right? This is the same Supreme Court that handed down when it overturned Roe v. Wade, said the states have the right to decide. This is a state's issue. The federal government shouldn't be involved. So 4 Supreme Court justices saying that even though the federal government had nothing to do with this case, that this was a state case, that the federal government should have intercepted this case to help out Donald Trump. For the only reason, to help out Donald Trump. The only reason was to help him out. Not because of any legal misconduct or anything, but basically because Donnie was going to throw a temper tantrum if he basically lost this. And he did. He did lose it. But it's not just that. There is something, Jeff Stein on Wednesday came on the show, and he brought up something that multiple other people have brought up. Do you understand how out of line it really is for the Supreme Court, once again, not part of this entire legal process, to try to intercede before the trial is over, the sentencing, they go through the court, they have a jury, they have all these things, they have the evidence, he was found guilty, then comes the sentencing, which he himself wanted to put off until right before the inauguration. And they did. The case wasn't even done yet. And they were saying, this would be like mobsters busting into a courtroom and saying, this court case is over. We're taking all the evidence. We're taking the witness. You basically are done here. The defendant is clean. We're not going to let it. You're not going to. Imagine the brazenness of that. That's what these 4 justices, they are quite literally writing the law with this. There is no rules that allow them to do what they wanted to do. And a reminder, this court case wasn't even finished yet. So this was them just kicking open the door of the courtroom and saying, no, we have a right to decide who does and who does not get prosecuted. And this is these 4 justices coming out and saying, no matter what he does, he could murder a Girl Scout with his bare hands in the middle of the street with thousands of witnesses. We will never allow him to be held accountable. That is so out of line, brazen. And if you want just the epitome of how the Supreme Court is broken, it's that. And now you got to pray, and I mean pray, that none of the Supreme Court justices from the left or Roberts or, Barrett and is sometimes, she's getting more sane as she goes along. Let's just put it that way. She's not great, but she is, she's getting a little bit better. But you got to pray none of these guys retire before the next presidential election, because they're going to put another far-right Republican in there, and it will take 50 years for us to clean up this mess. Maybe we should have elected, Kamala Harris. Maybe that we should have. We'll take a break, come back. It's the Matt McNeil Show.
Your need-to-know news headquarters, the Thom Hartmann Program, AM 950, KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Hey, it's Patrick. Your friends and family may be gone now, but the messes that were left behind on your carpets, rugs, upholstery, and more remain. That's why you need to call My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res and get 2024 out of your house for good. That's why to start the new year, Zero Res is offering 24% off all cleaning services for the month of January. That's 24% off carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, any surface in your home, and don't forget about your air ducts. Call Zero Res right now at 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. But Zero Res isn't just good for cleaning up the post-holiday messes at home. They can make your business look great too. Zero Res was out at the station this fall, and we couldn't have been happier with their quality of work and their professionalism, and the station looks great. So don't wait. Book your home cleaning today. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067 or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
You're listening to AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Are you struggling with cognitive decline, post-COVID brain fog, ADHD, concussion, tremors from Parkinson's, mental health issues, or simply striving to optimize your brain's potential? Hypercharge Wellness Brain Health specifically offers cutting-edge modalities including quantitative EEG, transcranial laser, red light therapy, all which work holistically, amplifying focus and cognitive functions. Utilizing these modalities in tandem enhances neural activities, optimizes the brain's electrical patterns, reduces anxiety, and enhances relaxation, ensuring a comprehensive approach to brain health optimization. All are invited to experience this life-changing journey towards achieving optimal cognitive and emotional well-being. Call or schedule online your free Hypercharge Wellness introductory session valued at $200 today. This is your opportunity to feel the difference for yourself. No matter where you are in the Twin Cities, there's a convenient location near you. Visit hyperchargeclinic.com now. Check out our 5-star reviews on our website. Hypercharge is hope.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with the temp falling to about 21. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 13. And Saturday, cloudy with a high near 27. A big thanks to everyone who supported AM 950. We're giving back with the 2025 AM 950 calendar. Donate $10 monthly or $30 one time for the calendar, or include Tom Hartman's signed book with $25 monthly or $100 one time. Visit am950radio.com to support progressive independent media.
WCPT 820 Chicago's Progressive Talk. In the nighttime hours, 11:50 a.m. KKNW in Seattle, and in Minneapolis, St. Paul on AM 950, the Progressive Voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. Little bit of housekeeping here. Hey, I don't know if you're aware, it's 2025. Who knew? If you know, we of course still have the calendars where I took all the photos of them. They're a thank you gift for people that become the members of and help out AM 950, the progressive radio station here in the Twin Cities where I broadcast from. If you'd like more information about that, you can go to their website, am950radio.com. That's am950radio.com. I took all the photos in there. This is the 5th one of these suckers I've done. Yeah, not on my bingo card when I started all this. A club that was not in my bag. But yeah, as Brett has told me, they're not ugly, and so they are good photos. You can enjoy them. Go look for that. Once again, it's a thank you gift by becoming a member of AM 950. Help progressive radio, whether that of course is WCPT, as well as also make sure you support KKNW in Seattle. That being said, I also want to mention that we here at the station have had a little discussion in the last few days as well about social media pages, and you'll understand where I'm going with this here in just a second. We are now all on Blue Sky, and you should be too. You really should. Not because I want to get 17,000 people so I can have a fake wedding. No, although, I mean, come on. How many followers do I need before we'll do a radio stunt where I get married to somebody?
Oh, let's see. How about 100,000?
100,000. I get 100,000 followers. We'll have a wedding. My wife will be surprised. No pets. Okay, I'm just going to let you know, no pets, all right? But, hey, I don't care. 100,000 followers, we'll do something like that. On Blue Sky. Gosh, if I go over there right now. Oh, my God. I'm going to be pretty sure we're going to be losing followers with this. But needless to say, we'll see what happens. I'm going to go back to what Mark Cuban said about this. He said that right now they're holding all the cards. They control most of the national news media. They're controlling most of the social media. Story today sounds like the Supreme Court is indeed going to side with the government and shut down TikTok, which once again is, if you don't understand the reason why Zuck, the reason why, and I'm going to get to Zuck here. Zuck is basically turning Facebook and Instagram and Threads into a right-wing fever dream. Why Twitter is basically a cesspool right now is because social media was killing Republicans in 2020 and 2022. And so they basically said, well, we'll just go outright and buy them and basically shut them down. And that's what they did. I want to remind everyone, when Elon Musk bought Twitter, he kept out there the entire time going, this is not about, I want free speech for everybody. This is not about one politics. This is just a good investment. And he knew at that point he was going to bastardize that social media site just to help Trump win and stymie a lot of voices, make sure voices he didn't want to get heard did not get heard. And yeah, that's exactly what he did. Go to Blue Sky. Cuban said it best. If Blue Sky all of a sudden starts matching up on daily users, which I think in the United States is 18 million daily users on Twitter, if you get up to that point with Blue Sky, this takes out their narrative. If you get even better, it really starts messing them up because they're not going to be able to buy off Blue Sky. They're just not going to happen. So go and get on Blue Sky. All right? Go and get on Blue Sky. Good enough. Now, the reason why I brought this up, and by the way, Matt McNeil show on Blue Sky. I get 100,000. Okay, no tongue. All right, just no tongue. I'm just going to put these rules. We have to have hard, fast rules about this wedding, okay? We're going to have to, if this wedding does happen, we're going to have hard, fast rules about this. All right.
These rules you're coming up with. Where are we streaming this to? I'm wondering now.
Well, probably divorce court for me, but that's just. Well, I mean, he did it for 17,000. I mean, he was way under. I mean, influencer my caboose, man. 100,000? Sure, I'll take a trip to Utah. Why not? 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. This is why my wife looks at me and just shakes her head and moves on. Mark Zuckerberg, the role model for data from Next Generation. This is not okay. So I brought up the point yesterday that Zuck meets with Trump right before Thanksgiving. Up until that point, now reminder, Zuck is Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. And when Elon, the Dark Lord himself, took over Twitter, I shared that I basically opened up a Blue Sky account and a Mastodon account and an account on Threads. And Threads initially was awesome. And it was really good because there was a lot of progressive content. I was picking up followers pretty much every day. It was really good. I was having viral posts. It was good fun. As a matter of fact, it seemed to be even doing a little bit better than Twitter was at its heyday. I was very impressed. Then Zuckerberg has this meeting with Trump. And immediately after that meeting with Trump, things changed on Threads. Suddenly, I wasn't picking up followers anymore. I was losing followers. Suddenly, videos my posts were not going viral anymore. They weren't getting hits. As a matter of fact, most of them they're not viral. They're not even minorly viral. Maybe you get 100 likes or something like that, but that's a pretty minor thing. But I was getting, on some of them 4,000 or 5,000 likes And I haven't had anything close to that since Zuck met with Trump. And as well, all of a sudden in my timeline is showing up a lot of right-wing content, which never used to be there. Before Zuck had his pre-Thanksgiving ketchup tossing with Trump, basically, I rarely saw right-wing people on Threads. And now it's probably 25% of the content. It really is sad. Multiple people called me up and said, or contacted me and basically said, yeah, no, Matt, we've had something like this happen too. Same thing. Threads was going great. And all of a sudden, right around Thanksgiving, it just all of a sudden kind of just died and petered out. And it should be noted that Threads is a direct competition with Twitter. And reminder that Elon Musk hated Threads when it first came on. I remember he was just petty and angry. Now, it almost feels like Threads is a sacrificial lamb to appease Elon Musk and Trump. That being said, this is not just now about the fact checking, because of course that was the story earlier this week. Meta, aka Facebook and Instagram and Threads, have gotten rid of fact checking there because they said making sure the truth is getting posted is somehow bias against Republicans. Yeah, this is the argument they're going with. This is their argument. You know, if you post factual truths, man, we look horrible. Oh, God. You can't do that. But it goes beyond it now. Zuck is now terminating major DEI programs effective immediately, including for hiring, training, and picking suppliers, according to new employee memo obtained by Axios. The move is a strong signal to Meta employees that the company's push to make inroads with the incoming Trump administration isn't just posturing, but an ethos shift that will impact the business practices. Meta said it was changing course because of legal and policy landscape surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in the United States is changing, per a memo by Janelle Gale, the Vice President of Human Resources, which doesn't sound too human. The move comes just 3 days after Meta ended many of its efforts to fact-check and police speech on Facebook, Instagram, and Threads. The announcement also follows a host of public moves by tech companies and executives to align with politics and cultural views of Trump and the MAGA movement. Friday's memo by Gale announcing changes to our hiring, development, and procurement practices was posted for Meta employees in Workplace, the company's internal communications tool. The legal and policy landscape surrounding diversity, equity, and inclusion efforts in the United States is changing. The Supreme Court of the United States has recently made decisions signaling a shift in how courts will approach DEI. The term DEI also has become charged in other parts. Once again, I want to make sure you understand this. Diversity, equity, and inclusion is somehow bad. Tell me the national news media isn't corrupted to the right without telling me the national news media is corrupted to the right. Diversity, equity, and inclusion are now, oh God, boy, that's become a charged term. The practice suggests preferential treatment for some groups over others. It's suggested, but it's not. It's basically just saying equality should be factored in. It shouldn't just be the white person's club. And you're basically saying, well, no, we need to keep it the white person's club or else. I mean, there are some people right now in the Trump administration who are basically saying any minority or woman who has been hired during the DEI things needs to be fired or else. And a white person get replaced. That's the only way you can prove that this wasn't bias is to fire all the DEI hires, as they label them, and replace them with white men. Then you'll show us that there was equity. Yeah. If you can't figure this out, this is not about equity. This is about, white people first, white men first. Similar moves have been made recently by other major companies, including Walmart in November, McDonald's just this week. Cowards. Meta last week replaced its president of global affairs, Nick Clegg, with Joel Kaplan, a prominent Republican who is now chief global affairs officer. Meta pledged $1 million donation to Trump's inauguration and added UFC president and CEO Dana White, a top Trump ally, to its board on Monday. Citing the shifting legal and policy landscape, Meta's memo announced 5 big DEI pullbacks. They're cutting Meta's DEI team, will no longer have a team focused on DEI. Maxine Williams, the company's chief diversity officer, is taking the new role at Meta, focused on accessibility and engagement. Ending equity and inclusion programs, Meta will instead build programs that focus on how to apply fair and consistent practices that mitigate bias for all, no matter background, aka white people first. Sunsetting supplier diversity efforts, Meta will end efforts to source business supplies from diverse-owned businesses. Moving forward, the company will focus our efforts on supporting small and medium-sized businesses that power much of the economy. White people! Ending the diverse slate approach to hiring. While Meta will continue to source candidates from different backgrounds, it will no longer use the diverse slate hiring approach, which ensures a diverse pool of candidates is considered for every open position. We believe that there are other ways to build the industry-leading workforce and leverage teams make up the world-class people, all types of backgrounds. Basically saying, okay, so all you minority people, if you could leave and look, a bunch of white people, we'll choose from them. Diversity. Ending representation goals. Having representation goals can create an impression that decisions are being made based on race or gender. While this has never been our practice, I want to make sure we understand. Let me just stop really quick here and just. Having a company that represents the community that you're in by having basically somewhat equitable amounts of minority representation that are present within the community, that's not some sort of exclusion practice. That's looking at, and they talked about this in the Barbie movie. White guy, 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 white guy. One minority. See, we're diverse. You basically considering a pool of candidates that is much more representative of the community is not going a bridge too far. That's just fixing a frickin' wrong, you idiots. Data suggests tech companies tend to be more liberal than other employers, but over the last year, the public sentiment has shifted about corporations taking a stand against major issues like DEI, as well as environmental, social, government issues. Yeah, as long as all the white people get hired. Now, it should be noted that most of Facebook's employees are not happy with Zuckerberg because he's now going to say transgender and gay users can be called mentally ill as far as their moderation rules. In an update to the parent company, he said, well, we do allow allegations of mental illness and abnormality when based on gender or sexual orientation. That's okay. He just told his own employees, you can be called mentally ill by your people that you're with. Okay, whatever. It is the Matt McNeil Show.
8 years ago, over 100,000 Minnesotans marched to the state capitol, standing together to defend women's rights, immigrants' rights, queer rights, and justice for all. Now, as our freedoms face new threats under an incoming administration built on oppression and divisiveness, it's time to stand together again. Join the People's March on January 18th at the Minnesota State Capitol. Together, we'll send a clear and unmistakable message. We will not go back. Building on the legacy of the Women's March Minnesota, this year's event will include a march to the Capitol and a rally. You'll connect with Minnesota organizations working to protect our rights. These organizations need your support, not just now, but over the next 4 years and beyond. The weather may be cold, but our commitment is unbreakable. The stakes are too high to stay silent. Let's show the strength of our voices as we fight for Minnesota's future. Again, that's the People's March on Saturday, January 18th at the state capitol. Details at womensmarchmn.com.
Hi, I'm Corey Wisco, president of the Welshire. The Welshire is a community that provides memory care to its residents, and we have a location in Bloomington and also another one we just opened in Medina, Minnesota. But the big question is that why do people come to Welshire? Many of the people coming to Welshire are coming from other memory care communities where they maybe haven't received bathing. They've had problems taking medication or inconsistency with staffing. Welshire has never used a temporary staff. We always have our own people, and it's those people that make the difference. We have always felt it so important to have 24-hour nursing in the building. The other thing is you have to have an amazing activity team. Nobody employs more activity people than Welshire. Our activities begin in the morning, go all the way through the evening, 7 days a week. So if you have a loved one that needs memory care, come visit WellshireMN.com and book a tour today.
Minnesotans are hardy. We don't let snow or ice get in our way. We have places to go. So making sure your vehicle is in prime shape for winter driving is so important. Take your vehicle to Rudy Luther Toyota for all your service needs. I was just there. I got my oil and filters replaced, and they did a complete safety check to make sure my vehicle can tackle winter. And they service all makes and models of vehicles. Head to RudyLutherToyota.com and use their super easy Toyota service schedule to set up your service appointment today. Rudy Luther Toyota on the southeast corner of 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Hi, I'm Mary T, inviting you to experience our integrative Mary T Health and Wellness Center, offering physical, occupational, speech, and lymphedema therapies. Experience our guided imagery, meditation, Tibetan medicine, dry needling, massage services, including cupping and oncology massage. Sign up for our free wellness screenings and learn more at marytwellness.com. All major health insurance providers are accepted. Come for therapy. Experience wellness.
I'm not a bubble up to cash in.
It is the Matt McNeil Show. Thanks for being here today. Hope you have a fantastic weekend. I want to just touch really quick here, Helio, once again on this. Think about working for Meta. And your boss comes on out there and says, they can call you say you're gay or transgender, that, people can now call you mentally ill. Think about that as a workplace environment, that people can call you, you work for a social media company and people can call you now mentally ill. In an update to the parent company's Meta hateful conduct policy, the business said, we do allow allegations of mental illness or abnormality when based on gender or sexual orientation, given political and religious discourse about transgenderism and homosexuality. So basically, they're basically saying that extremist Christians who basically think Jesus was all about hate, well, they're going to have a platform with us, and all of our employees who are either transgender or LGBTQ, well, screw you. That's Zuck. Technology giant said it would allow other non-serious abuse based on sexuality, such as calling a person weird. It has also changed its rules on how people advocate for gender-based limitations on certain jobs, such as military, law enforcement, and teaching jobs. Yeah, I think we need to come to grips that Zuck is also a pretty horrible guy. They are. And you have to remember, okay, so back in the Gilded Age, the 1880s, 1890s, back then, and we're kind of going into it now. You have to remember, one of the reasons why we have libraries everywhere in this country is Carnegie. Carnegie was so hated by the public, but at the end, he had all this money, and so basically, he had to buy his image back. Parks, statues, libraries, schools. Wealthy people, when they were at the end of their life and they realized that basically no one liked them, were forced to basically to rehabilitate their image, spend tons of money trying to find government services that could help the people. My guess is that's what's going to eventually be here, that Elon, especially Elon Musk, I mean, that guy is a pathetic loser. But Zuck too, that eventually they're going to get to the point where it's like, people don't like me. They think I'm horrible. Well, I guess I'm going to have to be nice. Just remember, they're not nice. They're only trying to buy your allegiance eventually. It's a shame the news media in this country did not want to report the actual news about the economy, that they ran with Republican talking points and eggs. I mean, we are going to look back on that election and say, what the F, for a long time to come. But that's what the news media did. And as a final, the heck with you guys, the final jobs report of Biden's presidency showed better than expected success. The unemployment rate dropped to 4.1%, which analysts were shocked to see. The unemployment rate was expected to be stagnant, while some Biden critics whispered it could even decrease. Biden said in a release, although I inherited the worst economic crisis in decades with unemployment above 6% when I took office, we've all had the lowest average unemployment rate of any administration in 50 years, with unemployment at 4.1% as I leave. This added in. The U.S. economy added 2.23 million jobs in 2024, including 256,000 the final month of Biden's presidency. There have been more jobs gained under Joe Biden in 4 years than in the full terms, the full 8-year or full 4-year terms of Trump, but 8 years of Obama or Bush. W. Biden beat all of them by a mile. Biden is now at 16.1 million, aided by the post-pandemic economic relief. Trump oversaw a $2.1 million job losses. Yeah, get ready. This is all about to go south, and it's going to go south real fast and real bad. Obama saw $7.1 million job gains with losses at the beginning of his first term during the great financial crisis. Bush oversaw 5.2 million job gains. Clinton had a stronger record than any of his successors, with a 23 million jobs added. That was that tax bill that they did, where basically if you hire somebody and pay them for 4 years in the high tech industry, that basically we will basically give you a tax break for the last year's salary. And it ended up working like a charm. It spurred investment in Silicon Valley and brought a ton of money in. And yeah. People don't want to talk about that. But if you want something funny, go back to the first 2 years of the Clinton term, and when they brought this bill out, go watch the Republicans line up to scream how his economic stimulus package was going to destroy the American economy. He balanced the budget, and he created 23 million jobs. But they all screamed it would destroy the economy. Now they'll all come back and they'll say something. Well, there was other things. No, it was good policy. Good policy wins. Obama had good policy. He had to get through. Once again, the W administration was trying to have the House on stilts collapse after they got out of office, and it didn't. It collapsed before in late August when the housing crisis happened. And so Obama inherited that. Plus Medicare Part D expansion was that bill came due on the first day of Obama's term, and the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan, those bills came due on the first day of the Obama administration, and he still ended up with $7.1 million jobs. And then there was Donnie T, who lost 2.1 million jobs. And we are now at a high point with jobs. Donald Trump doesn't have anything in the works that's going to make this better. It just is not. And it's going to go bad. It's kind of a hard thing to end on the week on, but it is the truth. If the news media in this country, and by the way, if you look at the news media trying to report this story, they are frantically trying to say, okay, fine, Biden had good jobs record. That is their mentality. The news media, who basically put their fingers on the scales of the election as heavy as they could on favor of Trump, now faced with the reality that Joe Biden's record on the economy was far better than they portrayed it to be. They can't even come to themselves and say, okay, yeah, I guess we were wrong. It's good jobs, but we'll see what happens. Yeah. Get those resumes ready to go, guys, because I have a feeling everyone's going to need them. Seattle, Chicago, have a great weekend. Talk to you on Monday. Minneapolis, St. Paul, hour 2 up next.
Thanks for supporting AM 950 the past 5 years and keeping progressive talk alive. As a token of our appreciation, we're offering the 2025 AM 950 radio calendar featuring photos from Matt McNeil's adventures during the year and key dates in progressive history. You can also receive a signed copy of Tom Hartman's latest book, The Hidden History of the American Dream. Get the calendar with a $10 monthly or $30 one-time donation as a thank you, or get both thank you gifts with $25 monthly or $100 one-time. Visit am950radio.com to get a membership today. Start the new year with nonstop laughs at Brave New Workshop's Big Christmas Energy. This holiday tradition, now running through January, is packed with sketches and songs to keep the laughs going. Enjoy new sketches and perennial favorites, including their unforgettable take on the 12 Days of Christmas. Whether you're recovering from awkward holiday conversations or just looking for a good time, Big Christmas Energy will leave you smiling. Catch Big Christmas Energy Thursdays through Saturdays in January at Brave New Workshop in Minneapolis. Get tickets at bravenewworkshop.org.
Hey, Minnesota, it's your favorite sexy liberal. Join me and my fellow cohorts in liberal justice weekdays from 8 to 11 on AM 950 KTNF, St. Louis Park, Minneapolis, St. Paul, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
AP News, I'm Mike Hempen. California's multiple wildfires have killed 10 people and burned more than 10,000 homes and other structures. AP correspondent Haya Pinjwani has more.
Firefighters are continuing to fight massive blazes in the Los Angeles area. The fires have so far obliterated entire neighborhoods and set the nation's second largest city on edge. Federal and state officials, including the president and vice president, spoke in the Oval Office about recovery efforts. President Joe Biden announced a plan for FEMA to provide $750 to survivors.
Survivors so they can quickly purchase critical items like water, formula, gasoline, and prescription drugs.
Biden also addressed looting during the wildfires and said he deployed police and the National Guard to improve security in areas affected by the wildfires. I'm Haya Pinjwani.
President-elect Trump has received no punishment for his conviction on 34 felony counts of falsifying business records. AP correspondent Julie Walker reports from court on Trump's status as a convicted felon.
Trump does not have to go to jail, pay a fine, or perform community service, but he will have felonies on his criminal record, which, like any other felon, will affect some of his rights. He can't possess a firearm and must provide DNA to New York State's crime data bank. As for voting, Trump is registered to vote in Florida, and he will be able to vote there.
4 passengers were injured today at the Atlanta airport after a Delta Airlines jet bound for Minneapolis aborted its takeoff. A Delta spokeswoman says the plane had experienced engine problems. The incident happened while a snowstorm was causing widespread cancellations and delays in Atlanta, but officials can't say if the problem had anything to do with the weather. This is AP News. A former national champion.
Progressive presents Renter's MVP's Most Valuable Possessions. Today's MVP, Tom Kelly's carbon fiber mountain bike. Because more than riding his carbon fiber mountain bike, Tom loves telling people about his carbon fiber mountain bike. Friends, family, even a local barista knows about his carbon fiber mountain bike. And that's why Tom's carbon fiber mountain bike, if you haven't heard about it, is today's MVP. Keep your most valuable possessions protected by bundling your renters and auto insurance with Progressive. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company affiliates and other insurers not available in all states.
Retired or retiring soon? How much money do you need to live comfortably? Retirement Planners of America is here for you. Would you like to have financial peace of mind? Here's how. Step 1. Find out the amount of money you'll need to retire. Step 2, have a plan to get there. Step 3, make sure that plan can take advantage of market gains but protect you from market losses. Discover how to do all 3 with a free consultation at 800-508-6108. That's 800-508-6108.
All investments involve risk, including losses. Past performance does not guarantee future.
End-of-life decisions are not easy to make. Hi, I'm Mary T. of Mary T. Hospice Care. It's important to make sure that this difficult time is meaningful and comforting to you and your loved ones. Our hospice team provides an individualized program of physical, emotional, spiritual, and practical care so your loved one is comfortable and not in pain. At Mary T. Hospice, we understand that choosing the right hospice care provider can be overwhelming, but we're here to assist you. Learn more today at marytinc.com.
I'm Rachel Schroman, owner of Schroman Law, and I believe you deserve information. Our firm offers free quarterly estate planning seminars at our office in St. Paul. At these seminars, you can learn the basics of estate planning from an attorney to help you determine which estate planning documents will meet your needs and goals in an efficient and cost-effective manner. You can learn more and register at our website, schromenlaw.com/events. That's SCHROMEN law.com/events.
Hi, I'm Bruce Klopfleisch. Join me every Sunday at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters. We'll talk about how civics, politics, and law affect you by highlighting a different topic each week. On this week's show, I cover the never talked about Third Amendment to the Constitution, how losing net neutrality will cost you more money for the internet, and how to get money out of politics. Tune in Sundays at 5 p.m. for Politics Matters with Bruce Klopfleisch to discover why government and civics matter. And podcast the show anytime on your favorite app.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for cloudy skies today with the temp falling to about 21. Tonight, partly cloudy with a low around 13. And Saturday, cloudy with a high near 27. Looking for the perfect night out? Head to Crooner Supper Club. There's amazing shows all year long. And stop by Maggie's Lounge for cocktails and conversation. Visit croonersmn.com for more info. Crooners Supper Club, old school nightlife with a modern twist. That's Crooners Supper Club.
Portions of the following program may be pre-recorded.
Hour number 2 of the show here on your Friday. Oh, we got lots to get to today. Michael Broadcorp is going to join us. I did not want to bring him on the Monday after that loss to the Lions. Plus the fact that we got a full weekend of football to talk about. So we're going to get to him and the Vikings and what happened in Detroit and look ahead towards the Rams game on Monday night. He's joining us today. Also, I got some dancing for you. Brett, I don't know if you saw the picture of Donald Trump Jr., who I think the people, my first thought was when the people of Greenland, that handful of people that in Greenland that went there to greet him thought he was some sort of like walrus god. Those teeth, man, it just kind of gives it away. It turns out sources of the Danish news outlet DR News that the supporters wearing fresh MAGA hats during the visit of Trump's representative Don Jr. and Charlie Kirk were homeless and socially disadvantaged Greenlanders who were bribed with hotel dinners. There you go. And they still only got, let me count, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. They still got a total of nine Greenlanders to show up. Even with, you had to have dinner, but you had to have it with the walrus boy. That
might be the line for me, a free dinner, but if I have to eat it with Don Jr.
No, it's like, oh God, no, I want to keep the food down. God, that's cold-hearted, man. We have a something that we need to put out here that we've talked about numerous times before, and we need to continually talk about. You do not mess with Edina cops. You do not do this. They have got cameras. They have got money right now. I mean, we are on the border of Edina here. We're close to Edina, and I swear to God, I bet you got drones watching you and I right now, Brett. I guarantee they've got that kind of high tech X-ray vision. They're spying in on me right now, watching us and just like the bone fissures as I do the show here.
It's a little concerning.
Well, but it's Edina. They got the money. Why not, man?
We're not that far. I guess.
Exactly. It really is. They've got the money. They've got the manpower. They've got the technology. They are going to find each and every one of you. It is a given. I was wondering about this story when this one popped up today. 2 teenage boys were charged on Friday among 4 arrested in connection with more than a dozen Edina high school students ambushing a teenager at the city's Y last month and leaving him with brain injuries. Now, we talked about this story. This is a bunch of punks who basically are starting on their downward angle of their life. Good luck with all that. I hope it's horrible for you. Sneaking into the Y down on York. I believe it's on York Avenue down there. It's kind of north of 494 in the Edina area. And I've been to that. By the way, I've been to that Y. That was the Y that had the angriest yoga instructor I've ever met in my entire life. Seriously, that was a real cornucopia of magic right there.
How could you be a yoga instructor and be angry?
Angriest damn yoga instructor I ever saw, man. She made a longshoreman look like a pleasant day at the of sunshine. It was just, she was the angriest yoga instructor I'd ever seen. I was like, dear God, I hope she doesn't stop. I don't want to know what would happen if she didn't have this outlet. Anyway, the angriest yoga instructor aside, these guys came on in there. I've been in there numerous times. I know where this happened, and it is a tragedy. More than a dozen Edina high school students ambushed the teenager in the city's Y last month, leaving him with brain injuries. The planned assault occurred about 6 p.m. on December 20th at the basketball court at the Y, 7300 block of York Avenue, one of the charging documents read. Police said the 16-year-old victim showed signs of declining mental state and memory difficulties before being hospitalized. Officials have yet to release his identity. A 16-year-old boy was arrested Wednesday in Edina, police said, and 3 more boys were arrested on Thursday, a 17-year-old, a 14-year-old in Edina, and a 16-year-old in Bloomington. Charged so far as of midday Friday is one teenager who was 15 at the time of the incident and another who was 16. The Hennepin County Attorney's Office had said, while prosecutors cannot release more about the charges against the 15-year-old or what the charges say, the juvenile petition filed against the 16-year-old listed charges of aiding and abetting both third-degree assault, third-degree riot. It also spelled out a brief description of what went on inside the Y that night, not revealing the motive. Police were called to the Y and learned the staff member let a large group of young males into the building through the rear exit door. The petition read, the group went to the gym and assaulted a teenager there who tried to run away. Surveillance video captured 13 teens in all entering the building while wearing hooded sweatshirts and masks. The victim told police he believed everyone in the group were Edina High School students and that he could identify some of them. He said he could not recall how long the fight lasted, but thought he fell unconscious at some point. As the teen continued to be confused, he was taken to an emergency medical responders to a hospital, diagnosed with traumatic brain injury. The 16-year-old who's charged admitted to police that he went to the YMCA because the planned assault and admitted that he hit the victim 2 or 3 times and kicked him once. Well, and this is one of the guys. Now, first of all, let's go back to one thing here. A staff member let a large group of young males in. I'm presuming this staff member is in jail right now for welcoming in the assault of the young man, right? The staff member has gone to jail, right? Or he's going to be charged, right? Because he was in on it. Right now, I'm going to tell you right now, they already know who all these people are. I have zero doubt. And the fact that the one guy got arrested and immediately 4 more got arrested, and trust me, they want to cut deals. You better start yapping. And so they're going to know who the mastermind was of all this. They're going to know all the names of all these people. And sure, some of these people might have some Edina money that said, how dare you try to get my little hooligan, charged with a crime? How dare you? We need to check it with a Edina guy at some point here before too long. I haven't had to talk to a Edina guy in a while. But I guarantee you got that money side that's out there. And basically saying, my little Jimmy, he deserved, don't ask me how he got that situation, but he was clearly defending himself when he snuck into the YMCA and violently attacked that young boy with all the other people. It was self-defense. I don't think so. Every one of you punks is going to get caught. Why? You did this in Edina. My guess is they've got detectives sitting there playing Jenga, waiting for cases to show up because they got that much money, man. They got more surveillance. You guys, did you think you were going to leave the Y? And did you have teleportation badges? Because unless you have teleportation badges, they're going to know it's Edina. They're going to know every vehicle that came out of that parking lot at that time. They're going to know all the people. They've tracked you down, man. You can run away. Such a brave person to violently attack someone with a mob of people and then run away and then hide and cower. You're a poor little victim now, aren't you? Nope, you're all going to get caught, and I hope this is the beginning of a miserable life for you because you all deserve it. Every single one of you. We can't allow this kind of stuff to happen. And I don't want to hear, for God's sakes, please, I don't want to hear about brain size. No. This seems like a pretty freaking coordinated attack to me. It seems like well-planned, well thought out. It doesn't sound like there were, drooling troglodytes with knuckles dragging on the ground trying to figure out, what do we do? My brain size isn't big enough. It seems like their brains were working just fine. You don't mess with Edina, man. You do not mess with Edina. I look forward to all of you going to court. It will be fun. All my best. Well, no, actually, I hope you rock. I hope this is the beginning of a horrible life for you. Good luck, bon voyage. And all my best to the kid that was attacked, because no one should live in that kind of fear. No one should live in that kind of fear. And the good news is this. I guarantee you, by the time Edina's done with you guys, No one's going to think about doing this again. Not in that town. 952-946-6205, 952-946-6205. I think I might mispronounce this next name. Senator Dumbass. Oh, excuse me, Jim Abler. Jim Abler. Okay, it's Dumbass Jim Abler. Sometimes, it's I think it's French. Anyway, Senator Jim Abler has shown up, and yeah. This is a Republican from Anoka, man. What's wrong with you people up there? During a meeting of the Tea Party, Liberty Tea Party Patriots on November 6th of 2024. Now, I want to make sure, can I stop? Is the Tea Party side of this still a thing? You met with these guys the day after the election of this year? Did you have some Zima? Were you wearing your Zubas? During a meeting of the Liberal Tea Party Patriots on November 6th, State Senator Jim Abler appeared to tell the crowd he doesn't think Minnesota deserves God's mercy after Democratic victories in the state. Oh, God. I love this state so much, I hope God wipes it off his planet. This election was like, this is a quote, I'm reading quote. This election was like good versus evil and the dark side versus the light and all this stuff, Abler said the day after the 2024 general election. And I kept praying that God would be merciful, and I think he was. I don't think Minnesota deserves mercy, but there's a remnant here, and there's a fragment, the crowd of that remnant. Funny story, Abler did not immediately respond to request to comment and add further context to his words, hoping that Minnesota does not think Minnesota deserves God's mercy after the Democratic victory. Because, yeah, that's, if you read the Bible, I mean, the seething and hatred, especially if you're a Christian, all that Jesus love, caring, diversity, equity, inclusion, all that stuff that Jesus did. No, you've got all Leviticus. That's what your Bible is, all Leviticus and Romans. You got rid of those Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John, all that peace, love crap. The state senator made a similar comment during the Minnesota Democratic Farm Labor Party agenda during a radio interview in September 2023. Abler said his fellow lawmakers on the side of the aisle were driven by 30-something progressive socialist women. Hello there. How you doing? By the way, you're reading my my online dating app right there. Because, if 30-something progressive socialist women, all right. But apparently Jim Abler, not so much. Walz and the DFL also pushed across a bill legalizing recreational marijuana use. Abler gave a bizarre rant on the Senate floor opposing the bill, where he referred to, let's see here, the prior use of the drug in college. While Abler was serving as the chair of the Senate Human Services Reform and Policy Committee in 2020, he unknowingly approved a bill that would legalize THC edibles. That's right. He was the idiot that made edibles legal in the state accidentally. Abler has served as either the state house or the Senate since 1999. It says 1936 movie Reefer Madness made some good points. And that was reformed cannabis user who will oppose the legislation. Dude, you know what you need to do to lighten up? Okay, never mind. I know of a substance you could use that would take that edge off there, Johnny Negative. So once again, this is the Republican. This isn't Anoka. This isn't some, far southwestern or northwestern part of the state where they basically eat a flag because patriotism, that sort of thing. I do not want to give these people ideas. That would be, you would need to go to a doctor. I'm just going to, it's going to be a long night. And reminiscent of what Trump's about to do to this country. Anyway, the says that he wishes God has no mercy for the state of Minnesota. This is a guy representing the state. And what I want to remind you, he is representing plenty of people who are of the different mindset than him on the other side of the aisle. Think about that for a second. I want you to stop and just think about this guy. Jim Abler represents Democrats, and he thinks that God should show no mercy to them. No whatsoever. I mean, is this the kind of guy? I'm asking the question. Is this the kind of guy, like when a natural disaster hits his district, he says, okay, this guy voted. We got the voting ranks here. You voted for a Republican. You vote for a Democrat. You're not going to get help. Republican, more help over here. Is that what you do? I'm sorry. It's guys like this that just are the worst part of our modern political scheme. I mean, just a delusional idiot that doesn't have a self filter. And once again, he's going on out to the Liberty Tea Party Patriots and getting out there because that's the crowd is there. And now Jim Abler is a coward. A coward, Jim. Because now I don't want to have to answer this. And of course, the news media in this town, well, I guess he doesn't want to answer it. There's no need for me to ask any more questions. If it was a Democrat, they'd be putting a microphone in every Democrat's face and say, what did you know and when did you know it? But now he's hiding and he's running away scared. Minnesota, he does not think Minnesota deserves God's mercy after the Democrats won. Dude, if this is so hard for you, get your worthless caboose out of my damn state. Seriously, there are plenty of go to Tennessee. You'll self-gratify like never before down there, dude. You're going to love Tennessee. Go to Tennessee. Go to Mississippi. You'll think you died and gone to heaven. But if this is the way you're going to act in this state, then are you really happy here, dude? Seriously, if you are at the point as a state senator where you think that Minnesota doesn't deserve God's mercy because Democrats win, you can't be a happy person. You don't look like it. You can't be a happy person. So why are you still here? Go. You go lead your life. You'll be a happier person. And trust me when I say this, we will not miss you. Can't figure you out, dude. Can't figure out. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. But until you address this, dude, I'm going to call you a coward. I will call you a coward. We'll take a break. Come on back. It's the Matt McNeil Show on a Friday.
I didn't get your name.
8 years ago, over 100,000 Minnesotans marched to the state capitol, standing together to defend women's rights, immigrants' rights, queer rights, and justice for all. Now, as our freedoms face new threats under an incoming administration built on oppression and divisiveness, it's time to stand together again. Join the People's March on January 18th at the Minnesota State Capitol. Together, we'll send a clear and unmistakable message. We will not go back. Building on the legacy of the Women's March Minnesota, this year's event will include a march to the Capitol and a rally. You'll connect with Minnesota organizations working to protect our rights. These organizations need your support, not just now, but over the next 4 years and beyond. The weather may be cold, but our commitment is unbreakable. The stakes are too high to stay silent. Let's show the strength of our voices as we fight for Minnesota's future. Again, that's the People's March on Saturday, January 18th at the state capitol. Details at womensmarchmn.com.
Hi, I'm Mary T, inviting you to experience our integrative Mary T Health and Wellness Center, offering physical, occupational, speech, and lymphedema therapies. Experience our guided imagery, meditation, Tibetan medicine, dry needling, massage services, including cupping and oncology massage. Sign up for our free wellness screenings and learn more at marytwellness.com. All major health insurance providers are accepted. Come for therapy, experience wellness.
This is Andy Otto, your host of Twin Cities Pride Amplified, inviting you to join us this Saturday at 3 p.m. as we talk about our mental health heading into the new year. We'll be joined by Tara Martini from Becoming Together Therapy and Wellness Collective to discuss healthy approaches to the New Year's resolution. as we manage stress in these uncertain political times. That's this Saturday at 3 p.m. right here on AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota.
Turn to Auto Technical with your vehicle donation. Even though Auto Technical is a small nonprofit, we have helped more families with transportation than any organization in Minnesota. Since '94, we have reconditioned donated vehicles so they have a higher tax benefit. Call Richard at 612-919-5526, 612-919-5526, or autotech.org.
It is the Matt McNeil Show, AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Brett, I got to tell you, the hardest I ever laugh in this town, is when I go over to the Brave New Workshop. And if you've not been, it's an institution here in the Twin Cities. They are absolutely, I mean, they are the A level in this town of comedy. And if you haven't been, you will be laughing so dang hard. They are brilliant. And some of the best comedians and comedy minds that this city has produced have come out of there. And we also get people to come in to work with it because it's kind of such an institution. Go to Brave New Workshop. As a matter of fact, how about I give away some tickets right now to go see the Brave New Workshop? Trust me, you win these tickets, you're going to go there, and you are going to laugh and laugh and laugh, all right? They have got their latest show, Big Christmas Energy, is going on. Their show packed with sketches and songs that'll keep you laughing. Basically, this is a fantastic way for you to go. And these are tickets for tomorrow night. I've got a 4-pack of tickets for tomorrow night to go see Big Christmas Energy over at the Brave New Workshop. Caller number, let's call it number 5. Caller number 5, 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Caller number 5. Take me up on this offer. Seriously. Caller number 5, go see this show. You will laugh your caboose off. It is brilliant. 952-946-6205. 952-946-6205. Caller number 5, you get a 4-pack of tickets to go to the Brave New Workshop on Saturday. Good luck. 952-946-6205 is the phone number. Reminder, Michael Broadcorp joining us here to talk a little bit about sports here in just a little bit, namely the Vikings. I want to as well talk about something that is, as we're talking about sports here, there was a very interesting hearing over at the state capitol in regards to sports betting. Now, I have not hidden my disdain for this because I have watched people get desperate and make bets that they should not be making. And it's an addictive act. It is also as well an act which can really cause a lot more damage than I think people do realize. By the way, Brett, do we have our winner on this here?
Yep, Chris from Minneapolis.
Enjoy. 4-pack of tickets to go see Brave New Workshop, Big Christmas Energy. Go enjoy that. Go see, if you haven't done the Brave New Workshop, seriously, go to Brave New Workshop. You will laugh so dang hard. It is brilliant. Congratulations, Chris. And thanks for the calls. 952-946-6205. Anyway, going back to the sports gambling. There are a lot of people predominantly within the sports reporting world in this city who keep talking about it. I just don't know why you don't want to do this. What's the big deal? People can go out and do this. It's just fun. It's just fun. It's not just fun. Lower credit scores, increased bankruptcies, more debt sent to collections, and more incidents of domestic violence tied to local team losses. That's what Minnesotans would be inviting if the legislature legalizes sports betting, according to authors of recent studies on wagers who appeared at a hearing at the Senate Finance Committee on Wednesday. In 2018, a Supreme Court ruling repealed the law that had long banned sports betting nationwide, except in Nevada. Since then, 38 states and the District of Columbia have legalized the sports wagers, and a growing number of consumers are placing bets using mobile apps. The research described a host of negative outcomes. Now, once again, I want to make sure we understand these outcomes are clearly almost freaking instantaneous with the introduction of sports betting in a state. The researchers described a host of negative outcomes in states that have legalized sports betting in recent years. In the 7 legislative sessions since the Supreme Court effectively legalized the spread of sports betting, and the legislature has not repealed the state ban on the practice, despite bipartisan support in opposition to the legislation. Senator Matt Klein, a DFLer from Mendota Heights, who has carried bills to legalize sport betting in recent years, announced in a press release Tuesday he will introduce another sports betting legalization bill when the legislative session begins next week. What's stalled it here is that the sports teams, at least this is from a little while back, the sports teams basically want just the Native American casinos to have sports books. But predominantly the Republicans want Canterbury Park and Running Aces to have it, which are not the Native American gambling spots. They want them to have it too. And once again, most of the sports teams are only wanting the Native American casinos to have it. That's been the holdup. And really, that's the reason why it's not happened, is that indeed this is the proverbial hill. The pro sporting people on the right have basically, made their stand on, is that unless Canterbury and Running Aces are included, they can't have it. Klein's bill would create Minnesota-based problem gambling hotline, prohibit advertisements targeting minors or problem gamblers, ban push. How are you going to do that? For God's sakes, every ad. There is an ad right now where it's basically the entire concept, the narrative of the ad is bet, 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 bet. And it shows a guy at the end holding his phone saying, "Thank gosh I made all those bets." Require a 3-hour waiting period between the time funds are deposited and when they can be used. Oh, that's going to work great. Prohibit prop bets on sports, college sports. They're basically based on occurrences rather than the final outcome of the game, such as an individual player's performance. So you can't bet on how many touchdowns a quarterback would throw, per se, like that in a college game. Legal gambling advocates like Klein argue that sports betting will happen regardless of the law because gamblers will find ways to wager using offshore operations, but a legal regulated regime would give Minnesota more protections and help they need. UCLA professor Brent Hollenbeck presented his analysis of credit scores, debt consolidation and collections data, bankruptcies, car loan delinquencies, and more. Across nearly every metric, residents of states that legalize sports betting had worse outcomes than those in states that still prohibit sports gambling. Using bank and credit card transaction data, Scott Baker of Northwestern University and his colleagues found that people who bet on sports are more likely to overdraw their accounts, have higher credit card balances, and invest less than those who do not gamble on sports. Why? Because they're taking all their supplemental income and they're betting it on games that they should not be betting it on. Then they lose their money and then they're out of money. That work takes the population level findings of Hollenbeck's study and confirms that on an individual level, sports betting leads to poor financial outcomes. Sports betting legalization has also increased certain kinds of intimate partner violence. According and by the way, this has long been known, but it's also been known with sports. In Texas, when the Cowboys lose games, the amount, and I'm going to say this and I'm going to be very clear, I can't remember the exact amount, but it's like a 79% increase in domestic violence calls in the city of Dallas every time the Dallas Cowboys lose. That's not with gambling. That's not with gambling. That was just when the Cowboys lost. This is a study by Emily Arneson and Kayu Matsuzawa, the University of Oregon. Studies have long documented that domestic violence increases with local sports teams lose, particularly when local team is expected to win. The study estimated that sports betting legalization increased incidents of intimate partner violence by around 9%. Sports betting opponents argue that the large companies operating sports books employ predatory tactics to ensnare gamblers. Just look at their freaking ads, man. I mean, that is like a textbook predatory lender. Seriously, look at their tonight we are going to have on the college football game, there's going to be, was it Texas and Ohio State? Notre Dame beat Penn State last night. They're going to have that game, or look at any of the NFL games this weekend. They are going to have ads that basically bet. You're a loser if you don't bet. Bet. You better bet. Well, boy, you're a loser. You're not going to win. Better bet. Bet. I mean, those are the freaking ads, man. Predatory tactics. I mean, they love that. For example, the major mobile sports books have VIP programs for users who spend a certain amount of money. Once a user reaches VIP status, they are assigned a host, a real person who messages with the user to encourage wagering and offer bonuses, incentive, and prizes, and then drive everything off the cliff. Oh, my God. Matt Litt, a New Jersey-based attorney who specializes in litigation against sports books and gambling companies, says he spends many of his days reading text messages between gamblers and VIP hosts. Hosts send users trophies and offer all expenses paid trips for users who spend a certain amount of money. The addiction is crystal clear, and if I can see it, the VIP host certainly knows it. Litt said, pointing to out many states require customer-facing employees of casinos and sports books to know the signs of problem gambling. The number one sign you're seeing through these messages with a VIP host is gambler begging for money, saying, I had a bad night last night. Can you please help me? Yeah, I don't know if we should be doing this. I will say, and I went and apparently it still have not been able to confirm. After the Super Bowl last year, there was a woman there was a viral post, and some people said it was fake. Some people said it was real. I still do not know this date. Woman in California was throwing all of her stuff in her car because she came out and found out that her husband had bet everything on the 49ers, I believe it was, to win that game. Was it the 49ers versus the Chiefs last year? Kansas City in the Super Bowl. Had bet everything for the 49ers to win, and something like $25,000. And basically they were going to lose their house. She could see that. She herself saw that. It still is not known for sure if that's a real story. But once again, I've seen people saying it was real. I've seen people that say it wasn't real. But that stuff does happen when you legalize this stuff. I mean, the stats are there. The question is, will we just ignore them just because gambling, sports? We'll have to see. Coming in after the break here, we are going to talk some sports. The Vikings did not win in Detroit. They are going to be going on the road to a home game for the Los Angeles Rams in Phoenix, Arizona. We'll talk about all that when we do come back. Michael Broadcorp will join us. It is the Matt McNeil Show here on your Friday.
Your love has set me free. Now nothing's out of reach.
Hey, it's Patrick. Your friends and family may be gone now, but the messes that were left behind on your carpets, rugs, upholstery, and more remain. That's why you need to call My Cleaning Heroes at Zero Res and get 2024 out of your house for good. That's why to start the new year, Zero Res is offering 24% off all cleaning services for the month of January. That's 24% off carpets, tiles, rugs, upholstery, any surface in your home, and don't forget about your air ducts. Call Zero Res right now at 952-ZERO-RES or visit ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. But Zero Res isn't just good for cleaning up the post-holiday messes at home. They can make your business look great too. Zero Res was out at the station this fall, and we couldn't have been happier with their quality of work and their professionalism, and the station looks great. So don't wait. Book your home cleaning today. Call 952-ZERO-RES or go to ZeroResMinnesota.com and ask for the AM 950 special. Zero Res.
Hi, I'm Peter Solak.
And I'm Adam Ostrowski.
We are here at Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces to talk about the joy of live fire cooking. Cooking over a live fire is the oldest and most basic form of cooking.
What's new is in the way fire is handled and its heat is managed.
It's easier to experience and enjoy the smell and taste of food cooked over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces sells and installs live fire grills, fire pits, and ovens. They help you experience the smell, the taste, the fun of cooking with fire.
Pizza was first made and is still best made in an open fire oven. The radiant and conductive heat of a live fire is unmatched for wood roasting and baking artisan breads too.
Come see the many ways you can cook over a live fire.
Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces has over 35 working wood and gas units on display at the corner of East Franklin and Riverside Avenue in Minneapolis. More information at woodlandstoves.com. Find the fire that works for you. Woodland Stoves and Fireplaces, out of the ordinary products and services since 1977.
With your AM 950 weather, I'm Brett Johnson. Look for partly cloudy skies tonight with a low around 13, Saturday cloudy with a high near 27, and Sunday partly cloudy with a high near 21. Tired of right-wing social media? AM 950 is now on Blue Sky, the progressive alternative. Sign up for Blue Sky, search for AM 950 Radio, and follow us for news and programming you can trust. Again, that's AM 950 Radio on Blue Sky.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. It's the Matt McNeil Show. To keep my sanity this entire political season, we have welcomed Michael Broadcorp, our Vikings correspondent, on the air to talk about the Minnesota Vikings football, which did not have the weekend last weekend we'd hoped they'd have, but they are still in a pretty decent position, I think, as they head into the playoffs. Michael Broadcorp, kind enough to join us. But I got to ask you first one political question, and
Yes,
I'd love
yes.
to get your answer on this. What are the chances, speaking of gambling, we'll just what's the over-under of 2 that the Minnesota House will pass 2 bills that are not emergency disaster relief within the regular session at the end of this regular session? That the Minnesota House will have it passed 2 bills by that time. Are you over or under that?
It's going to be tough for them to get that done.
What's that? You think
That's going to be tough.
Yeah, I'm going to go with under.
Yeah, I'm going to go with the under 2. That's
I
going to
don't-
be tough.
Will it be 1 or 0? I think it could be 0. I think
You
it's
think
gonna
it'll be 0?
I think it's going to be. I don't think they're unless it's natural disaster relief, which I don't even know if that will get passed, because if people start trying to throw other things into those bills, that will derail that. But if it's if they can get natural disaster relief, okay, fine. But any other bill, I just do not think by the end of the regular session there's going to be a goose egg up on the board for the Minnesota House.
We are trending towards a very likely unproductive legislative session. I know that Minnesotans, we like to think that we have a good government kind of persona. As I've said consistently over the years, my favorite crisis is a constitutional crisis, and we're trending pretty close to getting to some dangerous territory. And so having the opportunity to talk about the Vikings, which is a stress-free environment, is just really nice to have.
I don't know if we're going to get anything done. That is beautiful. I want that on a t-shirt. All right, let's get into that stuff, because this has saved my sanity this year for sure. The Detroit game. Okay, yes, he didn't look good. Darnold didn't look good, and he missed a few plays. He missed a few throws. You know, I think the nature of that stage, we've never had in this league a bigger final game of the year than that game. To a point, I'm willing to give him a little bit of a pass on that, because in the sense being is that's a tremendous amount of pressure to perform under.
Every game in the NFL is a tremendous amount of pressure. And I think, and I agree with you, Matt. I really honestly have to just go back to this. You set this out as an expectation this season, as we kind of joked about it at first, but every game was a must win. And the Vikings are now, I mean, they came in the game as 14-2. They ended the season, they ended the regular season at 14-3, but they seemed really off on Saturday night. They seemed really off, and it was a challenge and it was a struggle to watch. And that's not the team that I think that we've seen consistently over the years. Darnold was missing plays and all that type of stuff. And I went to Twitter a lot of times, or X and Blue Sky and everything else, threads, to check out the game, check out the analysis. And it was pretty harsh, but I think justifiably so. I think that we have discussed pretty consistently that we think that KOC and the leadership and the general management of the Vikings organization is the type of organization that players want to play at, and they prepare their teams for the games. That game got out of hand quickly, and Sam Darnold just seemed to be missing a beat. And but I do believe, and I'll say this to you, I do believe that he's in the type of environment that can rebound. If the stat is correct, I don't believe the Vikings have lost 2 road games in a row since KOC became coach. So we'll see what happens on Monday night now. We'll see what happens on Monday night, but I have faith that the Vikings are going to show up, and I feel good about their chances. I kind of maybe feel a little better about our chances in this game in retrospect than I did on the game against Detroit. That might have been I might have had been speaking a little boisterous, which I'm known to do.
Well, but it was based in reality. That game we had early in the year, that was a darn tootin' game. And we lost that game to Detroit at home, but it was a close game. We're going to have a discussion, not today, but we're going to have a discussion because I am of the mindset, 14-3 quarterbacks don't come by too often. And I don't know what we got with JJ McCarthy, but he's coming off an injury. And I'm still in the camp of, you got a good thing right here. I don't know if we get rid of it. And so we're going to have that discussion.
I agree with you. I mean, Matt, we're 14-3.
Yeah, 14-3.
I mean, if you would have told me this was been the price of right, and they said put 1, 4, and 3 in an order, I would not have put that as 14-3. I would have not have correctly put them in the right order. And so Vikings did a great job. And so yes, the Vikings. Let me just say this: the Vikings and the Viking fan base. I think the Vikings would be foolish to cast aside Darnold without giving him a serious look. Obviously, they saw potential in him, and they picked him up. I mean, we've all kind of, I think you probably have done this too, looked at some of the social media reactions to Darnold when he was initially picked up, and kind of where we were kind of mentally coming into this season. He has overperformed all of expectations. He's in an environment where he's succeeding. You absolutely said it correctly. You laid it out correctly. 14-3 teams. This is a dream. Would be a dream season for other teams, independent of what we do in the playoffs.
Lamar Jackson or pick a quarterback. Aaron Rodgers. If they had this would be a career year for them. And correct. I mean, he's done a great job, and he's clearly one of the top 5 teams in the league. And we're going to get to it, but yeah, we'll have that discussion. I'm having you on Friday because I do want to run through all the games because we now know our playoff teams and stuff like this. And I'm not going to let you. I'm going to make you pick these games. I'll take the Vikings games. You make me pick the Vikes games. I'll do that. But I'm going to make you go on the record here on the rest of these games. I know. But we never know where this stuff is going. When did they start playing all the AFC games first and the NFC games second? Is that new this year?
I think it could be, and I don't like it. I don't like the way things were when I was a kid, and I don't want anything to change.
Oh man, ice cream from the truck. I do like that too. Yeah. Chargers Texans. That's the first game. That's tomorrow at 3:30.
I'm going to go with it's at Texas.
Yeah,
and I'm going to go with the Texans.
I'm actually on the side of the Chargers. I mean, the Texans have just not been.
I just stumbled right into that.
Well, I mean, okay, but hey, trust me. I mean, I've been wrong a few times this year.
Only 3 times this season, man.
Well, I look at the Texans just don't seem to be as consistent as they need to be, and that's going to be a problem for them. Ravens are going to host the Steelers. That could be one of the better games of the weekend for sure.
I don't know why, but I'm thinking Steelers, and I don't know that I should be, but my initial reaction. And I've been thinking about this, but I didn't. You sprang this on me. But I was like, let's go Steelers.
Well, Tomlin. I mean, the guy is a pretty good coach, and he knows how to pick apart teams, especially teams that he plays with a fairly consistent basis. I don't think you're wild at that at all. And yeah, I could actually see. I'm thinking that this could be the second road game win of the weekend. I think the Steelers can knock out the Ravens. Broncos at the Bills. I'm pretty sure I know where you're going to go with this.
I'm going Bills.
Bills, yeah.
Yep.
That's kind of that's an easy pick. Here's where we get interesting. And now I know if you've been listening to this segment through the year, Michael is not the biggest Green Bay Packer fan. And so I'm going to I'll act surprised. What do you think, Packers at Eagles?
I think it's going to be the Eagles. I think there's questions as to whether the Packers even show up, but I'm going Eagles.
Are you concerned about Hurts in the concussion protocol at this point?
I am. Yeah, I'm also concerned about the consistent narrative against the Green Bay Packers, which I think is coming led by my wife, which is that they're the youngest team in the NFL, and boy, they got great potential. So that they need to start losing some momentum, and so I'm going Eagles.
Some clown car on ESPN picked the Packers to go all the way to the Super Bowl. I'm serious.
I want that person's home phone number.
Yeah, we'll
discuss it off air.
The sneaky good game of the weekend could be Commanders at Buccaneers. Washington at Tampa. Tampa's not a bad team. Baker Mayfield has shown some real signs during the year, but the Commanders and their rookie QB, man, they are fun to watch. That is a sneaky good game.
I'm leaning towards the team that I've kind of pegged as the team that I would like to, aside from the Packers, that I consider to be dangerous is the Buccaneers. Okay. And I'm worried about their swagger, and so I'm going to take the Buccaneers over the Commanders.
You are. I wouldn't. Generally, rookie QBs don't do too great in the playoffs, and so that's going to be the case. Then comes the big enchilada.
You're picking it.
Yeah, well, hey, I want to say to, and I imagine you are on the same boat with us. What's going on in LA right now is horrible. This game, I almost feel embarrassed that we're paying attention to this game because that's not the priority right now. What's going on in LA and it's going on right now in LA is truly horrible and terrifying. To a point, did you see the video of the LA Rams at their outdoor facility with all the smoke around them? I don't even know what they thought they were doing, but you cannot play this game there with what's going on in LA.
You're absolutely right. And I want to say a couple of things. First of all, I agree with you pausing and just acknowledging at the onset. I also think that the NFL made the right decision in moving into Arizona. I honestly would have felt, and I mean sincere, I would have felt guilty if it would have came to US Bank. I know that wasn't maybe never a credible option, but I think Arizona is a good alternative site under the circumstances. And I wish everyone in California and anyone impacted by it, that they're getting all the help and assistance they need. It's absolutely horrible to see what's going on. But I think the NFL made the right decision in moving into Arizona, and we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you've been to Vikes games. You see the amount of police you have to pull in and other people, security personnel that you have to bring into an event like that. And as they're fighting what they're fighting out there, I don't think that's just a tax on the system they need to put into place. Arizona is ready to go with it. And it sounds like, I feel sorry to a point because, it is going to be, to a point, a road game. This is a division rival for them. And frankly, there's a lot of Minnesotans in Arizona who are kind of licking their chops about getting tickets to go see this. But I agree with you. I think moving into Arizona was the really only option because the last thing you need to do is have a TV game, as all this chaos is going on. And you're seeing smoke come into the stadium. I think it's the right call.
It's absolutely the right call. It is somewhat of a road game now for the Rams.
Yeah,
I have family that's going. I have family in Arizona and family that's going from Minnesota to Arizona. They got tickets to go to the game, but I'm going to be watching from home. But I think it's going to be. I wonder how that dynamic is going to be. I can see the Rams coming in and being, super enthusiastic more than ever, because of the circumstances. But I also think that particularly in the NFL, the home field advantage is so critical. And I just want to be blunt in saying that it's a terrible circumstance. I wish it wasn't happening, but I do wonder, I'd like to get your take, because I think the environment of the game matters so much. And so I do think that the Vikings I wish it wasn't happening, but this being in essence at a neutral site changes the atmosphere. It changes the crowd dynamics of the game. I was going to say atmospheric, and that wasn't going to be respectful. What I meant was the crowd dynamics, the environment of the game.
Well, and what
I think it's going to be beneficial to the Vikings
and what it means to the Rams. And here's the thing is, and you looking back on cases like this in the past where hurricanes and stuff like that have come through. Generally, if the Vikings get up early, it becomes one of those things where the mentality is, I need to get back home. All right, this is nice and all. This is a game. Fine, we're done. We're moving on. And I think that is weighing heavily on the Rams. If this stays close, then you kind of wonder about that motivation, wanting to deliver something positive for the LA community. I don't think it's going to be close. I think that the weight of what is going on cannot be taken away from this game, and so I think it's going to be that's going to be sitting there, and they're going to be thinking about it. And I think with that, it does potentially. I mean, I think there's going to be a lot of excitement, a lot of energy. First quarter will be tight, but I think by the time you get to the end of the first half, the Vikings will be up by 2 touchdowns, maybe 10, 14 points at that point. And if at that point, and if the Rams don't come out right away in the third and get a score, then I think we're going to start seeing the reality set in. My pick is Vikings on this one, 27-20. They beat the Rams and they move on to the next round.
I like it. I think it's a great pick. I wish everyone good in everyone that's dealing with the fires in California and the communities. I can't relate to it at all. And I wish everyone the best. But yeah, I think the Vikings win. And then if the Vikings win, then are they with Detroit then?
With the Buccaneers winning and then the Eagles winning, then yeah, we're back in Detroit again.
Go through if I don't want it's your show, but what are some scenarios if we win? Where are some other possibilities we could end up?
Well, if we win, if all the road teams win, we will be hosting the Washington Commanders. We would be hosting the Commanders. The Green Bay Packers would go to Detroit. Basically, if one of those teams win, we are going to Philadelphia. So there you go. So it's we go to Philadelphia if there's another road upset, and we're basically hosting a game if all road teams win.
Got it.
But
I think the Vikings are going to win, and I think we're going to be doing this show at least one more time.
I think we will as well. Well, we'll do it no matter what. Michael Broadcorp, our Vikings expert. We got to run. Thank you very much, sir. We'll talk to you next week. It is the Matt McNeil Show. Got some dancing when we come back. It is the Matt McNeil Show on your Friday.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
I love the Toyota Sienna Hybrid from Rudy Luther Toyota. Safe, roomy, comfortable, and insanely fuel efficient. One thing I haven't mentioned is how good the Sienna is at winter driving. We just had a snowstorm, and my Sienna handled the ice and snow no problem. From getting through the plow pile at the end of the driveway to safely navigating the snow-covered highways, the Sienna is designed to give you a comfortable, safe drive. When winter weather hits, I give myself extra time, but with Sienna's handling and heated seats, extra time is great. Test drive a Sienna today at Rudy Luther Toyota, 394 and 169 in Golden Valley.
Would you let animals pick your insurance? Do you really need to experience mayhem to get the best rates? Or how about a celebrity quarterback or fake university saving you money? There's a lot of marketing stunts when it comes to insurance, but what you really need is someone looking out for you. Call Array Insurance, and they will work hard to find you the best insurance coverage and rates. So avoid gimmicks and call Cheryl at Array, 763-504-3067, or arrayinsurance.com. Array Insurance, working hard for you.
AM 950, the progressive voice of Minnesota. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful weekend. Native Roots Radio is in next. We are back on a Monday. Have a great weekend. And Royal Taylor, Ready, Set, Go takes us out. Have a great weekend. Until Monday, see ya.
Hearts on the city streets, but I can hear that you're calling me to be the hope, be the light, be the love right now. Starting right now. You put my life in motion, your love makes me wanna give my ready, set, go, so love, I'm not holding back anymore.
Winter is here. Ramsey County winter warming spaces are now open every night between 9 p.m. and 7 a.m. now through March. These spaces are available to anyone in need of a place to warm up overnight. If you or someone you know need a place to warm up